Ready? I will call the meeting to order and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'll go ahead and start that. Have many people live. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God.
Indivisible with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. We have a couple people that we know will be rolling in late. We'll give it over to Mayor Reddy when he does arrive. But go ahead, Rick.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a couple of different quorums we need today, and we have a bunch of alternates and proxies, so just they go through this. We'll start with we should have from the city of Ansonia, Mayor Cassetti on the line. Mayor?
I'm present.
From the town of Beacon Falls, we have the alternate, Mike Berneski.
Present.
Appreciate it. From the town of Bethlehem on the line for select.
Here. Here.
From the city of Bristol, Mayor Caggiano.
Here.
Thank you. We're waiting on Andrew Martelli called in from the town of Cheshire. He's 10 minutes out, by car. On the line, we should have Mayor DiMartino from Derby.
Here.
First Selectman St. John was not able to make it today. It's down to the borough of Naugatuck. On behalf of Mayor Hess, Rick Dunn, am holding his proxy for today's meeting. So Mayor Hess is present by virtue of his proxy committee. We're expecting First Selectman Temple. He's not here yet. From the town of Plymouth, Mayor Duffel not joining us. Is Mayor Chatfield from Prospect on the line? We're expecting. Okay, I know that on the line we have First Select Woman Dragonis from Seymour.
Yep.
Thank you. Mayor Loretti is on his way in the vehicle. From the town of Southbury, I believe we have on the line First Selectman Manville.
I am here.
Sorry. First Selectman Moan from Thomason was unable to be here today. From the city of Waterbury, we have a proxy for Mayor Pernaruski, Judy Mancini.
Here.
Thank you, Judy. From the town of Watertown, we have the town manager, Mark Raymond on the line.
Here.
Thank you, sir. From the town of Wolcott, proxy for Mayor Dunn is Rick Dunn. I don't want anyone to be confused about that. Rick Dunn and Tom Dunn. So I'm holding two proxies today and with instructions to vote. From the town of Woodbury is First Select Woman Perkinson on the line for the alternate. Mr. Gressler. All right, so Mr. Chair, we have a quorum present for the COG, we have a quorum present for the MPO, and we meet the requirements of the special quorum for bylaws.
Excellent. Very good. And I see we have a speaker. So do you want to?
We do.
We have it. If you want to, yeah, let's go to the speaker first. We'll give Loretta a little time to go here.
So on the line remotely is Lisa Mercurio from AdvanceCT. And you have her slides. Desiree, we'll put her slides up. Lisa, you with us? I saw her. I just don't hear her. Lisa, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you very much for the opportunity and appreciate the time this morning. So I am, as you had said, Lisa Mercurio. I am Vice President of Business Development for AdvanceCT. And we could probably move forward to the first slide if that's possible. Thank you. So I know many of you well, but just as a quick sort of overview, AdvanceCT has been in existence since 2019. We are sort of a 2.0 of a predecessor organization, which was the Connecticut Economic Resource Center, or CERC. We were started really with the understanding that there was some additional capacity that could be used in the state to help promote and market the state as a economic choice and for companies looking to enter the market, as well as working with businesses that are in Connecticut to really focus on them, focus on their growth, understand what their needs are, and to match them and provide resources to them based on what they were seeing as barriers to growth. So we are, as I mentioned, a not-for-profit. We are served by a board, and our funding is both through the Department of Economic and Community Development at about 45%, and then the balance, 55% majority, is through the private sector. And that was an intentional decision to have a board that reflected both public and private sector interests, so that the needs of businesses were at the table in these discussions as we're looking at ways to increase the growth opportunity for companies that are here. So on our, if you wouldn't mind to please forward the slide, thank you. So in that context of what we all do, Connecticut is a very small state, but we have quite a few resources. And this sort of gives you a sense of the other partner organizations we work with on a daily basis to fulfill our mission, which is to help Connecticut companies grow and succeed here, and to bring companies to Connecticut based on the industry sector and sort of our workforce advantages that we have with industries that are here. So as you can see, the councils of government are on this list, as well as regional economic development organizations, workforce boards, the towns themselves, whether they be the leadership of the town, as well as the economic development professional or an economic development commission, as the case may be, a variety of industry trade associations. So that would be BioCT, that would be CBIA, Manufacturer CT, a wide range of not-for-profits that also directly work with businesses on their unique industry goals and advocacy. We as an organization do not have an advocacy role to that point. We are sort of the connector, and we see ourselves as the front door, really, essentially, to the state, so that a business, a business's focus is obviously they're running their business and growing their business. Trying to determine which organization or association or department or agency can help them is it can be an overwhelming task, and it can take them in many different directions. So as a no-cost service to businesses, we provide that opportunity. And if anyone doesn't have any questions, we could move forward to the next slide. Thank you. So I had alluded to the work that we do. And so we are essentially a team of about 20 individuals, and we operate out of 4 distinct areas. And those would be business attraction, as well as research, marketing, and business retention and expansion. So with the creation of AdvanceCT, there was a real desire to build a data-driven organization that could market the state in a way that was meaningful and data supported. So those are 2 very key departments and roles that our organization offers. Many of you are probably familiar with the town profiles that our research team develops and works in conjunction with the CT Data Collaborative in developing those. Towns use those as marketing tools, and we feel it's very important to get that information out and as frequently as the data is provided. So that's always a question, but being able to have accurate, up-to-date information for businesses as they're making their decisions is key. And then we have the 2 sort of functional teams, business attraction. And on our business attraction team, we have industry sector leads. So we have Ted Fisher, who runs our advanced manufacturing lead. And we have Tim Miller, who is our life sciences lead, Francesco Risigliano, who focuses on tech. And tech really sort of cuts across all industries, but there is that also component of a purely tech-driven business, as well as renewable energy that Wheatley Dunham serves as on our team. And the business retention and expansion, which is the team that I lead, we are generalists. So we will meet with municipalities, we will meet with businesses. In fact, we just completed our board meeting this morning, so my apologies, I was a few minutes late. But for our year-to-date January to end of August activity, we met with over 800 businesses and partners. So in that 8-month period. So, all of us we're having meetings on any given day with 5 business leaders or partners. So the desire to reach every Connecticut business and sort of get a sense of where they are, as well as what resources they're looking for, is our primary goal. We also, I will mention, have a top employers list that we sort of monitor and follow. And these are either very large companies by headcount, or they are ones that have sort of a brand name recognition that we want to make sure that we're touching and communicating with at least on an annual basis. And that is a project that we work with directly with the Department of Economic and Community Development, whether they be governor visits to a site or commissioner visits to a site. That is another component of the outreach that we offer. So I'll stop there because I've been talking a lot. I don't know if anyone has any questions, or if not, I can move to the next slide.
Anybody have any comments? Okay, we'll keep moving.
Great, thank you very much. So again, this sort of, it gives us a visual idea of what I was trying to describe, was the sort of role that we play. So, and this is the sort of resource that I'd like to share with all of you. I know Drew does this in his day-to-day function, but if there's any assistance that we can offer, or any additional input that we could provide, or any additional pressure we could provide in terms of addressing some issues that may be impacting businesses in your region in terms of their growth, or barriers or challenges, we would be very happy to do that. And so we have on the business retention team, to drill down a little further, 3 individuals, including myself, that will meet with businesses throughout Connecticut, as well as a workforce director. We brought on a full-time workforce development director in April, because every conversation that we have, and it's not unique to Connecticut, it's a national issue in terms of being able to find a workforce that meets the individual business's needs. We clearly are at a challenge. We're very close to full employment in Connecticut. So being able to tap into entry-level talent has been a challenge for many of our businesses. So Melanie Hoban is our Director of Workforce Development. She came to us after several years with Goodwin University in the same sort of capacity. And so she will also have a series of projects with companies to work through a variety of topics. So we have very large employers looking to hire hundreds of people over a multiple year period, that she will work directly with either schools or public technical high schools to sort of map out curriculum and programming for I'm giving you a large scale example, to working with smaller manufacturers that need assistance with ESL on their manufacturing floor. And so then she will work to bring in instruction. And in most cases, a lot of that training is available to the business for free through our workforce development boards. So I wanted to just sort of give you a sense of how we connect between the business as well as the resources that are available throughout the state. We could go to the next slide unless there are any questions. Great. So this is because workforce, like I said, is the top priority. It is something that I wanted everyone to get a sense of how many players there are in this space, and trying to coordinate can be just a daunting challenge for a business. So Melanie is well tapped into a variety of, all of us actually are essentially into these resources, so that we can get a sense do an assessment with the business of what they're looking for, and then go out to the appropriate stakeholder that can provide service to the business. So we can move forward, please. So on this slide, this sort of just gives you a sense. So as I've mentioned, we started operation in 2019, 2020. In fact, the spring of 2020 was to be the launch of AdvanceCT, and obviously we all know what transpired at that point. So the primary work of the organization for the first 2 years of our existence was on the day-to-day managing the COVID pandemic impact on businesses in Connecticut. So 2022, we're finally, 23, we've been able to start addressing the work that we were created to do. And this slide just sort of gives you a sense of the projects that we have worked on. And we do, in fact, encourage all of you to share with us any project that you have in your communities, so that we can present really a statewide picture of how the state is performing in a variety of sectors, and what that means in terms of capital investment, what that means in terms of headcount growth, and possibly relocations. So you can see predominantly the work that we have been focusing on in terms of project wins, as we will call them, are in the advanced manufacturing sectors, and then followed by life sciences, as we've indicated here. So, so just a snapshot. This is actually also available on our website. But we track obviously all the projects we work on, but the information that the municipalities provides us as well really allows Connecticut to market itself in the national global economic development work, landscape. When we had started, we in fact heard from several site development publications and ranking organizations that look at states and provide site selectors with information about states and who is doing what for whom. And they had shared that they had never received actually any submissions for projects from the state of Connecticut. So it just had not been our focus. The state had not focused on marketing ourselves that way. And so with the launch of AdvanceCT, we have been able to really quantify what's happening within our borders in terms of our economy. So I know there's a lot here. Happy to take questions.
Oops, if we can go back, sorry about that. The Team Connecticut wins. Can you just expand upon that a little bit more? I don't know that I heard Team Connecticut before. Or those win companies, but is that a different project group?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what oh, Team Connecticut. Perfect, yes.
I don't know what that is, so.
Yes, no, it's an excellent question. So Team Connecticut is actually sort of that ecosystem I had showed earlier. So it's Department of Economic Development, it's AdvanceCT, it's you, the municipalities. So these are projects that the state in various partners have put forth.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. And so this is just sort of to give you a sense of currently what's top of mind and what's happening. We have sort of the Connecticut and how headlines is the information that we share through primarily our marketing is and I have to sort of add that as a caveat that we do not market our organization. What we do is market the state. So we are heavily using LinkedIn to market Connecticut to CEOs who had possibly gone to school in Connecticut, or the CEOs who had lived in Connecticut, or site selectors that are watching what's happening in different states. We are targeting our social media marketing in a way to capture the attention of those that have an affinity towards Connecticut or are in industries that are logical extensions of the work that we do here. So these are just a few examples of the rankings that we follow, the rankings that we share with these influencers, so that there's a sense of Connecticut and where we are as it relates to the sort of national marketplace. And TTM, I'll give an example, is one of the larger companies I had mentioned. They are in Stafford and are looking to grow and expand, and we're looking at other locations throughout the country in order to do that. They did, we are very pleased to say, choose to do that in Connecticut, and so now we have dedicated staff working with them to address their workforce needs, so they can meet those growth requirements that they're looking to do here in Connecticut. Perfect. So this, and I didn't go into this in the beginning, but this is just a sort of overview of our board members. We have members from a variety of industry sectors that are in the state. Obviously, there is representation on advanced manufacturing side, as well as life sciences, as well as the universities, because again, the workforce is critical, our talent needs are critical, and so having representation from the universities, both from the development of talent to also the sort of role that they play in innovation and company growth, company spinoffs, has been key to the input that we look for from our board. And I think there's just one more. And so we are also funded by our members. And so this is a look at the members that we have that support our work, comprising that private sector component of our revenue stream. So that is it. So I would be tried to do it quickly, but welcome any questions, comments, and anything that you want to discuss further.
Anybody have a desire to weigh in or just digesting everything?
I know it's a Friday, and again, my
Okay.
apologies for not being there in person, but my contact information is there, and happy to, have a conversation offline at any time and visit you in your office, which is obviously preferable.
Okay, Rick, you want to go ahead and update the roll?
Thank you, Lisa. We did
Thank
go. Yeah, I have to update. Oh, yeah. So, we were joined, by First Selectwoman Perkinson from Woodbury online. We were joined by.
Mayor Bob is
Mayor.
here.
Yeah, I have it. Mayor Chatfield from Prospect is online, and.
I had the line, sorry, I had the time wrong.
You got it, sir. No problem. And, Andrew Martelli from the, town of Cheshire has joined us in person. And we do have a quorum, Mr. Chairman, as well. We've been joined, I just know, we were joined by Kevin Biemeyer from, Southbury EDC, Will Mangini from, Congresswoman DeLaura's office, Tommy Hyde from Naugatuck+Valley Regional Development Corp, and then of course, Lisa. All right.
Okay, so we're on to public comment at this point then. Anyone wishing to address the board may do so. Just state your name and address for the record.
This is Mayor Bob. I just like 3 seconds. I've known Lou Mangini for a long time. I've always asked me, when are you bringing me money? Well, I want to show you that I have a check here for $900,000 from Rosa DeLauro, and I just wanted to make that, tell everybody about that, and thank you, Rosa DeLauro. For water lines.
So noted. Anybody else wishing to address the board?
We did not receive any requests online.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item number 3, the CNVMPO meeting. For members only, the item number 1 is the 2025 through 28 tip amendments.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. So we have a tip amendments for several projects for the following numbers: 0017-0195, 0171-XXXX, 0300-0191, 0304-0026, 0304-0029, 0304-0030, 0304-XXXX, some various project numbers, and 0153-0127. So there is a spreadsheet that was included in your meeting packet listing out all these projects, and in addition to the report, if there are any discrepancies between the report and the spreadsheet will apply. And for the
Move to
details.
accept Prospect.
I'll
Yes,
second it, and then we can give the details. Go ahead.
There's a motion and a second discussion.
Is there any discussion? I didn't know if you wanted to give details.
Yeah, so just a little bit of background on why there's two formats of the projects in here. This is hopefully our last meeting where the Connecticut Department of Transportation will be sending these amendments in that Excel format. They are expected to go live with their portal for Eco Interactive ideally on October 1st, which is the official start of the 25 to 28 federal fiscal years and the new tip and the new STIP. And so ideally, going forward, these amendments will be much easier for us to process on a staff level and for us to convey to all of you. We have continued to include the Eco Interactive project reports in the packet because we believe that they give a lot more information. They show the maps, the location of the actual projects, as well as they allow us to include a longer description of what is happening. And so in this case, given that they are about to upload all of the STIP into the portal, including the amendments here, we wanted to ensure that some of the formatting differences that exist between Eco Interactive and their Excel version are included as they are on their end. And again, those should all go away after this cycle. And just a couple of quick highlights from this list of projects to call out. Those 0304 project numbers are all the Waterbury Line Station projects. And so this breaks out the projects for Waterbury, for Naugatuck, and then adds the all station accessibility funding for the remaining stations up and down the line.
Okay, any other further comments? Okay, there's a resolution on the floor. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Okay, this takes us to the transportation management area, item number 2.
Yes, so just a brief update, no action required for this item. As you all probably recall, just about a year ago, we petitioned US DOT to designate the Waterbury urban area as a transportation management area. This designation was granted on October 31st of last year. And so we're one of only several urban areas in the country to have received this designation without hitting the population threshold. So we wanted to just share a brief update as we approach that 1-year mark from that designation. As a TMA, we are required to demonstrate compliance with planning at the federal level. And as we've been saying all along, we've already been conducting the planning process here for the CNVMPO in accordance with the TMA guidelines. The one addition that that we'll be adding and hopefully bringing before all of you at the February CNVMPO meeting is the congestion management process. So this is something that we do regularly in coordination with our partner COGs in the other urban areas, the capital region for the Hartford area, West COG and Metro COG in the Bridgeport-Sanford urban area. But we are required by federal law to consider the impacts to congestion along the national highway system as we plan for projects and changes to the transportation network. And so the report we'll be bringing to you in February will detail how that work happens. It doesn't actually change the planning process. We already include this information, but it does detail specifically the work that is being done to address congestion on the region's national highway system network.
Okay, are you all done?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so there's no action required on that. We go to item number 5. Oh, I'm sorry, number 4, the minutes for approval. We have the 6/21/24 CNVMPO COG meeting. And then we have the 07-19 2024 same minutes for the meeting.
Prospect moves both.
Second, and Bristol.
Motion is made second. Any discussion, any changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that takes us to item number 5. We have, Mike is up for the financial report.
Thank you. So, this is the financial report for the fiscal year ending 6/30/2024. It's unaudited and it is what went out in your, packet last week. I'm projecting we're ending the year, with a net position of $91,000, cash balance of 1.1 million, unrestricted general fund of 956,000 and 1.2 million in deferred revenue. There were no unexpected funding cuts during the year. We did have a few expenses that went over. There's no real impact because we were under in a few areas as well. But you know, there's an increase in dues, due to increase in membership organizations. Business insurance is gonna be adjusted for the audit. And then printing, training, travels and meetings, all those increased because of increase in staff for the year and an increase in outreach programs like municipal training and investing in staff. We also, part of the reason why we have a bit of a high surplus this year as well is I wanted to be a little bit more conservative with the spending this year in anticipation for moving to a new office situation in this fiscal year. So just to kind of pad the general fund a little bit, so we're not taking such a hit and we can have a nice reserve ratio for years to come.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Move to accept Chatfield.
Second, Bristol.
Motion is made and seconded. Any further comments, discussion?
Just, note for the record, the audit report, the audit will be done, in October and the report will be filed with the, audit committee by January.
Yeah, well, we're anticipating to get it done in December before the full meeting.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6 is the.
So I have it didn't go out in the agenda packet, but I do have a financial report for a period ending July 31st, first month of the new fiscal year.
Okay,
Want to move to add that to the agenda to be legal?
Fair, I'll second.
motion is made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, it's added to
Note for the record, it passed by 2/3.
the. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so this is for the period ending July 31st. It did not go out in the agenda packet. But anyway, so 1 month or 8% through the year. Kind of like I present at the beginning of every year, we have a high net position. It's mainly due to the collection of dues at the beginning of the year. But it should converge to a balanced budget towards that. Cash balance of 1.7 million, unrestricted general fund of 980,000 and 1.5 in deferred revenue. We haven't gotten any notice of any unexpected funding cuts or anything to anticipate for the year. If anything, we've actually been getting some more awards. And anticipating a couple more awards throughout the year. In terms of RSG, which is that $827,000 a year, we haven't received payment for it yet, but we are expecting to have the funds distributed in November. Outside of that, I mean, everything else is more or less in line for the first month of the year.
Move to accept Prospect.
Second, Bristol.
I would hope that we're in line after the first one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, Rick, we're moving on to you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm gonna make a quick report on Kenny Don Dam. As I'm sure you're all aware, the property that we're dealing with and conducting due diligence on, subject to severe flooding and washout of the rail line that bisects the property. So we've been working closely with Connecticut DOT and MTA to get that done. Particularly, I want to thank Aaron and Craig for their work on that and their coordination on that project along with Ricardo. So the work by DOT is taking place, OMD is performing that. We're acting on behalf of the owner at this point, even though we're in the due diligence period, just supervising access to the property. The other thing that we've undertaken, as NVCOG under our NOAA grant for due diligence activities. I've apprised the board before of a risk that we discovered during the engineering review for the berm itself, the earthen berm and the safety of it and its rating. So we've entered into a process with the FERC that's approved the plan. We've received a waiver from Connecticut for section 401, water quality certificate. And we're going to lower the level of the water in the impoundment, in the Coal Pond impoundment. So it's actually, technically it's the owner doing it, but we're facilitating that as well. Once that's lowered, we'll then have the confidence to turn it over to the Brownfield Land Bank for ownership. And get it out of NVCOG's line of business. We'll still manage the grants and act as fiduciary in the current grants.
Current owner now is?
Current owner now is Trimaran.
Trimaran.
Yeah, yeah, and it's who owns the stock in the FERC regulated project called Town Hydro Project Inc. That's the legal owner. Trimaran owns all the stock.
Foreign company?
No, they're in Washington State.
Okay.
So anyway, that works going forward. So as it successfully proceeds, then we'll be able to go to the Brownfield Land Bank and have them take possession of the property. And hold whatever liability exists for the contamination and remediation of the entire site over. And that's it on Kennytown. I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions on Kennytown? Long protracted subject. Okay, the next item I want to hold off and move to a little bit later in the agenda till First Selectman Temple gets here, because he and I had some discussions about this and we want to weigh in on this issue. So we'll go on to item number 8 is the Equity Explorer.
Municipal services, item 7.
Item 7, I'm sorry. True.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to report that as of this morning, we have 15 out of 19 of our municipal shared survey responses from the individual communities. Still have 4 left. I really would hope we get 100% participation. So I'm going to give one final shout to the 4 towns later today who have not responded yet. One final note on shared services, and you'll see it on the screen here. You've got an event on October 8th that is hosted by CROG, the Capital Region Council of Governments in Hartford. And I'm going to be attending that on behalf of the region, but it is open to anybody. So if you are interested, the details are there. I can certainly forward the invitation on behalf of CROG. I think they're going to talk about some successes in their region and some things that they have found to be worthwhile to share up there in the Hartford region. So that is on, again, October 8th. Moving on to number 2, the flood updates, back with the previous slide still. Thank you. As you're all aware, the region got hit with a historic flooding event on October 18th and 19th as First Selectman Temple enters on cue. Demis has been holding weekly meetings on Friday mornings to keep everyone updated on recovery efforts and on the status of funding. We'll continue to keep you folded in on that process. About 5 minutes ago, I sent a summary of that meeting to you all. Please reach out to me directly with any questions, and if you have any unmet needs from businesses or individuals or your town related to flooding event, and I'm happy to put you in contact with the right people for that. So, and then next slide, please. Number 3 is the emergency management update. I'm sorry, I'm kind of taking the chair, make sure for you to go through my report here. Sorry about that. I figured that. So I'm pretty sure John Field is not joining us online today, as I know he's taking some well-deserved time off. I just want to commend John for a 24/7 effort that he put in for the flood for Region 5. Did a fantastic job and was really available. So he's now enjoying some well-deserved time off. Just one thing to note, just yesterday was the final training session for Crisis Track, which is the new software that all municipalities are going to be using for emergency reporting. You'll see a couple screenshots on the slide here. Unfortunately, the training and full rollout of the software had not really been completed when the flooding event happened. But because the news kind of reported a link for that being the preferred method for reporting damage, everybody was directed there. So we kind of I think we're not quite ready for that process, but now with this training, we are. So in the future, when there is an event like this, crisis track, which is by a company called Juvair, is going to be the preferred and only method that the state is going to be using, and that will help kind of align the damage reporting with the federal requirements and things like that. So we're all on a standard system statewide. And that's all I got.
Drew, Mayor Bob, I got a little behind. Would you send me the shared services flyer and also yeah, that's what I need.
Sure, for the CROG event, absolutely. I'll forward that right after the meeting.
I am one of them, I assume, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, no, in terms of filling out the survey, no, you did actually. You're all set.
All right, forget it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have to send it to me, Joe?
I do have to send, you want to name names, I'll name names. I didn't really want to do that, but
Like, at this stage of the game, it doesn't matter to me, so send it to me.
I will. I'll send it to the 4 folks who haven't yet to, I'll keep you all on it so you know who the 4 of you are.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're all done, so we'll go back to item number 4.2, the preliminary submission of the amended substitute bylaws. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, as you all should recall, we've been talking about bylaw change, and amendment for several months. So we have, a complete substitute amendment, bylaw. We're not redlining it. We're not going through everything. It's just a total substitute. It was worked out through, 2 executive board meetings, to which all members were invited to participate, and staff was directed to revise the bylaws pursuant to the decisions of the recommendations of the executive board. So I mean, it was a robust debate of the issues, and we redrafted. I want to just express thanks to Trish Bruder, who really did yeoman's work in putting this together. It's renumbered, it's hyperlinked. You can get from one section to the other section. It's really great. I want to thank Savannah Nicole and Rich Donovan as well for their input in the document. And then so I'm just gonna hit the highlights of the major changes for you today. The rest of them are really technical in nature or just conforming with statute. So the first big change is the inclusion in the definition of representative. We included city or town manager in that category. We removed the regional planning commission section completely and references to the RPC throughout the document. They've been replaced with the Land Use Technical Advisory Committee, or LUTAC, which is now resides in the bylaws, with TTAC, which is the Transportation Technical Advisory Committee. So it'll be staff run rather than a commission of local planning commission members that tries to meet at night. It's a daytime meeting of professional planning staff from the towns. The commissioners will be involved in other ways. The town commissioners will be involved in other ways. That was a major change. The references to regional plans throughout the document were referred to the commission previously, which was the Regional Planning Commission. It now refers to the responsibility being in the hands of the NVCOG staff to draft and produce those. Other major piece is the incorporation of MPO bylaws, which we no longer, we never had MPO bylaws. We have a combined organization, but we've never had bylaws for the MPO, which is the membership is separate and the rules are somewhat different. So as a for instance, the executive director of the agency is the secretary of the MPO, which is the way it is in all other our other MPOs. So it's a little different. And the secretary will be pleased to know they don't have to sign all those type of amendments anymore. I get to do that now. Other than that, it just lays out the membership, which are the 13 towns that have always been a member of CNVMPO. And that's in as a new section, which I believe is Article 11 now. Representatives and alternates, it clarifies that representatives, that alternates can function as members of any committee except the executive committee. They're not allowed to say on personal matters or things like that. No designees in those activities. Remote participation in meetings. So this is a big one. We're conforming with state statute on remote meetings. We've always held a live meeting, so we don't have exclusively remote meetings, but we make the provision for it in here, and there are rules associated with it. Hybrid meetings are typically what we have. So if we were to have a fully remote meeting, if a member of the public wants to participate, law requires us to provide them with equipment to connect to the meeting. That's state laws for all bodies. If we avoid those and have a hybrid meeting, we always have a place where people will come and participate in the meeting. The big change for the members in the conforming with the statute is it now says you must make your best effort to be on camera when speaking, and that you must identify yourself by name and position when you speak, if you're remote. Other than that, we do a pretty good job of that. In the officers and executive committee section, there's no longer any limit regarding consecutive terms. The statute changed down a few years ago, which is conforming in this document. This section, so this is Article 6A2. This is the section that's changed where it says the chairperson of the combined body must be a member of the CNVMPO. And so that's a change because we're adding the MPO bylaws and the MPO organization. Then it's requiring the NVCOG chair to be a member of the CNVMPO. And also, it's also referenced in Article 11B, which is the MPO bylaws. We're deleting the at-large representatives shall be nominated by a majority vote of the council. The executive committee has handled that in practice, which is reflecting that now. Election of officers, the bylaws used to say that the nominating committee was appointed by the chair, but by the council, in practice, it's been the chair. So we've changed that to reflect our practice that the chair appoints the nominating committees for officers. In the treasurer section, we're adding the reference to the finance director as the entity to work with, along with the executive director. So the treasurer works with the finance director and executive director. The language now says we're removing the section in conformity to the statute. The treasurer shall furnish bond. Treasurers are no longer required to furnish bond in Connecticut, so we've removed reference to that throughout the document. So there's a section in the bylaws that requires counter signature by the treasurer, executive director, and other designated officers. Basically, this is the two signature on the check. So we wanted to move to electronic payments. It was a desire of the board to allow us to move to electronic payments. So all we've done here is remove the reference to the counter signature on checks, which will allow us to have the same system in place through the voucher and sign off by the treasurer. So there's a package of check right here handily. So there's a journal that both the treasurer and the executive director will sign, or treasurer or some other officer. And electronically, we will transmit to the treasurer the invoice, the vouchers, the sign-offs by finance check that normally takes place. And then our two signatures will be on here, and then I'll be authorized to move either electronically or by check payments going forward. Michael will need to revise the financial policies. If this is adopted, then the financial policy and procedure manual will have to be revised before we can actually enter into it. The process. Next one. Just reflecting a practice and an agreement that we've had. Any change, consolidation, or abolition of NVCOG departments or divisions of the staff, it says the executive director shall do it. It used to say with the permission of the subject to the approval of the executive board, and it just now says in consultation with the executive board. Doesn't require a vote any longer. That's the change. We've deleted the section of requiring an annual report being made to the board and to the public. We make monthly reports. We've consolidated all this. We took this out of our UPWP, which is our work plan for transportation, years ago, because we fund the website now with those dollars, and that's where we do most of our recording. We still generate, as you'll recall, an annual report. We've given you a printed copy of it every year for the board members, but it's available electronically online. So we're just deleting the requirement. Let's see, and then, last thing is fiscal management. It used to say that the budget adoption would be, based on personnel evaluations conducted by the executive director. We're striking under the guidance of the executive committee. The executive committee doesn't participate in the evaluations that I do. You evaluate me. So, and that's pretty much the sum and substance of the major changes to the bylaw.
Okay, so I'm gonna open up for discussion now, and I'm gonna start off,
Good. One thing, just the
Yeah.
process. So the process is, today is the preliminary vote. The bylaws require preliminary adoption by the board at one meeting. We've met the quorum request. And then we have to send it out to legal counsel for review. Just for legal review, not substantive review. And then at the October meeting, the document will be posted again, and that's the final adoption by this body. So it has to come before the body twice. But the vote is a simple majority, so long as 2/3 of the towns are represented at the meetings. Sorry.
okay, no, I think that was an important, fact that people should understand what the actual process is for adoption on it. I want to start off by saying I regret that I missed the two meetings at the executive board where they discussed this, and, you know, one change has come to my attention that I just find a little bit out of sorts, and, I wanted to put it for discussion, but the section where the chairman of this group cannot be from the Valley communities. I'm not sure that, first of all, I don't agree with that. I think we've been willing partners from day one, and we've been part of the structure of what's strengthened this whole group and brought a lot of success to this. And I just don't understand why there's a carve out on the chairman. And I spoke to some of the other Valley mayors, and I think that they would concur, but I'll let them say that for themselves.
Just to be clear, you're talking about the.
Yeah, Mayor Cassetti from the city of Ansonia. I was at them executive meetings. Why are you carving out the 4 Valley CEOs from being chairman of the Naugatuck-Valley Council of Government? We constitute possibly a quarter of your board. Why would you cut us out? I am totally against this. I think it's not fair to the Valley towns. And I'm sure that my counterparts in Derby and Shelton already spoke, and Seymour will agree with me on that. That should be stricken from that submission.
If you're asking me to answer on behalf of the executive board, I will.
Well,
Sure.
I don't think we want to put you on the spot. I think maybe probably what should happen is we should have a special meeting and have a discussion with the executive board as to what rationale that was used.
We allowed to amend it. Maybe.
You could amend it before you adopt. Sure.
But then we'd have to go 2 meetings in a row with the amendment.
No, as long as you vote on a preliminary version today, then we could move forward.
We can amend the preliminary. version.
Right, and that would be the.
You can do that.
Because I agree with Mayor Loretti and Mayor Cassetti, it really doesn't affect my town, but, I've been a member of this for over 13 years now. And if we've all been treated equally and we work for each other, it doesn't matter, for me or anybody else, where a problem may be or where funding may be, we're all one unit. And this, it just doesn't make any sense at all. That's like saying that anybody whose town begins with a W can't be on the board. It's just totally arbitrary and capricious. And to be honest with you, if it ever was tested in court, I don't know how it would be. I don't know how I cannot think of one valid reason for this.
Other than that, those towns are members of another MPO and they control the dollars for that MPO. You control the dollars for this MPO. That was the rationale behind it. But I would suggest that there's nothing urgent about it. We don't have to vote on bylaws today. You just table
If I may,
Anne Marie, go ahead.
First Selectwoman Dragonis. So I just want to make sure I understand correctly. So Ansonia, Derby, Seymour and Shelton cannot be chairs of this board, correct? As far as these bylaws are not. But
under this proposal.
the NVCOG takes our town monies.
Oh, so,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
Bob Chatfield.
Go ahead, Bob.
Can I be recognized?
Yes, please, go ahead.
The senior member here, I've been coming to these meetings for 47 years. What is the name of our organization? Naugatuck+Valley Council of Governments. Well, isn't it important that they're part of our name? They should have the same responsibilities that we do. I never even thought of that it was going to be changed. We'd have to change our name if we don't allow them to be part. They are part when we all took part and had this big meeting, and I was the last vote at the meeting in Waterbury several years ago. So I'm totally opposed not having them be part of this organization, be able to be chairman of this organization. Chairman, chairwomen of
Mayor
this.
Chapman, I just want to clarify one thing. I'm not taking a position, by the way. I just want to clarify for you. We are two different organizations. We're the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, which has 19 members. We're the Central Naugatuck Valley Metropolitan Planning Organization, which has 13 members, 15 members. So they're two different organizations. The majority of the money that flows into this agency flows in for the well, actually, that's not true. The majority it comes in for CNVMPO, but we also get funding separately for the 4 valley towns that vote with Bridgeport in the Bridgeport Valley MPO. So, yeah, I just want to be clear about it. That's all.
Right, but it really hasn't had an impact on how we've operated or how we've gotten along or the progress that we've made. And, you know, you're allowed to be the vice chair and the secretary, and you're just carving out the chairman. I just,
Mr. Chairman, why don't you make a motion to amend the preliminary report?
well, I don't know, I think it would probably be more appropriate to ask the chairman, Pete Hess, to call a special meeting of the executive committee and just deal with it there. You know, I mean, if somebody wants to do something different, I'm open to it, but so go ahead.
Well, I've already, at executive committee meeting, already stated my position. I must have missed the one where there was a vote, because
There wasn't a formal vote. We went item by item and it was just by consensus.
you know, I wouldn't have put it.
Well,
Interesting.
either that, or we can take no action today and, you know, the members who aren't here will be able to see the minutes and see what our comments are made and, you know, take it up at the next meeting.
I would suggest you table to a special meeting. That would be the best way to handle it.
We can do that as well. Is there a motion to that effect?
Chatfield will make it prospect.
Okay, and Temple will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Okay. So now we move on to NVCOG Equity Explorer.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Apologies for being in this awkward position behind a lot of you. I'm happy to just update the board not too much prior to the release of our Equity Explorer. The Equity Explorer is a digital dashboard designed to provide insight into equity across the Naugatuck Valley planning region. For users of the tool, they can investigate equity-related data by municipality, by demographic indicator, or by equity emphasis area. For the purpose of this Explorer, equity emphasis area refers to a census tract that is identified as having higher concentrations of populations facing significant disparities and selected indicators. And so Richard Crowther will explain the indicators when he talks about the methodology. The purpose of creating such a tool was for us to identify disparities, which allows us to pinpoint where and how inequality exists across different demographic groups, which also helps us to highlight the interconnectedness of those different issues. It also helps us to centralize data from multiple sources, which helps to better foster collaboration across different levels of government So we pull in data from several federal and state agencies, including the Justice Security Initiative, the EPA, EJ Screen Pool, and the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development. We foresee this tool being beneficial to many professionals, including but not limited to your town planners, your town land use staff, grants administrators, your public works and engineering, etc. The Explorer can be used not only to inform your decision-making and resource allocation, but it can help to forecast the impacts of your projected projects and to ensure compliance with federal and state mandates, statutes and regulations. And so I will pass it to Richard Crowther, our GIS analyst, to explore the tool and talk about the methodology and demonstrate.
Thank you, Desiree. Richard Crowther, Senior GIS Analyst at NVCOG. First, I'd like to mention that you could scan the QR code on the screen or visit our website to read the detailed methodology, an explanation of the indicators, and access the Equity Explorer. Also on the screen is the list of 16 indicators that we use in our equity analysis. The first 4 indicators listed are required populations, which were highlighted by our planning director. Each indicator was processed individually to determine the mean and standard deviation. For reference, there is a graph on the slide to help understand what those statistics are. We use one standard deviation above the mean to identify census tracts with a population experiencing disadvantages compared to the majority population. This method expands upon the methodology we use for Title VI requirements in transportation and brownfield planning. Each census tract received a score for each indicator, and a total was summed for an equity score. We did this with a composite scoring system, which I will explain. If the indicator is equal to or greater than 1 standard deviation above the mean, the census tract scored a 2 for the indicators for required population. For the remaining 12 indicators, a tract score of 1 for the same thing. A score of 0 is assigned if the indicator is less than 1 standard deviation above the mean for the tract. If a tract would have a score above 0 for an indicator, that tract was identified as an emphasis area for the indicator. I'll show you what that means in that demonstration. The indicator scores were summed to calculate the equity score for each census tract with a maximum score of 20. Communities with a score higher, 6 or higher, were identified as equity emphasis communities, which are highlighted in the dashboard, which I will demonstrate now. So when you first open the Equity Explorer, you get a dashboard showing data for all 16 indicators for each tract we identified as an equity emphasis community. And you can select the tract, and the dashboard will update with the information for that tract. The second page is the same information on the indicator for each municipality, but this does not identify a municipality as anything. It's just for research purposes. It's like a shortened version of the regional profile, if you will. The third page is where you actually explore the data. You start with the equity emphasis areas, which are open, and you can click on any one and get the score and the information for each indicator. You could also read information about the census tracts we did not identify as an equity emphasis area. You can explore each indicator separately and see where the emphasis areas for each one of those are. We also have all our projects listed: brownfields, transportation, lot tip. So here we have no vehicle access population highlighted. And then there's lots of projects going right through the census tract. So hopefully this lots of project has sidewalks and bike lanes involved for those populations. And also available down towards the bottom is where you can access all the federal and state layers to compare to our regional one. This data has also been shared with other COGs in the state of Connecticut to create some uniformity and regional planning. And we will be updating this next year with the latest release of ACS. Thank you.
That it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Just a quick one to the chair. Is it different functionality on the phone, I'm assuming? Because I don't see all those layers on the phone, but maybe I do.
It might be hidden to the side and there might be an arrow to open up the layers.
Okay. We'll play with it, but it's much better on the computer. Actually, there's too much information.
Okay, moving on, item number nine. Environmental planning, Ricardo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, everyone. So I just wanted to start with saying, I'm happy to announce that as of September 30th, 71 Minerva Street, Derby will be having their ribbon cutting ceremony. Since the beginning of this project back in 2012, NVCOG has overseen slightly over $1.1 million invested into this property by state and federal agencies, with over 16 million coming in from a private developer. So that's a 16-to-1 ratio. The site has been redeveloped into 96 residential apartments, of which there's a set aside of 9 being classified as affordable. So congratulations to the city of Derby on that project. Wanted to mention that the RBP committee will be meeting mid-October to select new assessment projects under NVCOG's new EPA assessment grant. The projects being awarded should have a start date by late fall. And keeping on track with the RBP committee, I also wanted to mention that the annual RBP meeting, next slide. The annual RBP meeting will be on December 12th at Bad Sons Brewing Company, one of the first brownfield projects that NVCOG has worked on. So this one will be in the city of Derby, 251 Roosevelt Drive. A drink ticket and food will be provided. Please be on the lookout for the save the date. As a side note, friendly reminder, DECD's brownfield funding round closes September 27th at noon. So if you guys need any help collecting data or anything related, please reach out. We'll be more than willing to assist. More information on projects, brownfield projects in your municipality, please refer to the memo attached in the agenda book. And lastly, Stephen's last day with us is September 27th. I would like to wish him the best of luck in his new position at the Connecticut Deep's Land Management and Acquisition Department. So good luck. Thank you. That's all, Mr. Chair.
That's it, huh, Ricardo?
That's it.
You sure?
I think so.
Just checking, that's all. Okay. Front page then. Okay. We go to number 3, natural hazard mitigation plan update, Tom?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. NVCOG is beginning to plan the 5-year update of our regional natural hazard mitigation plan, which will streamline and identify all 19 municipalities' mitigation goals and action plans. This update is required by FEMA for municipalities to access non-emergency hazard mitigation grant funding. Not only can this update allow you to access these funds, but without it, you will not be able to apply for federal grants that help prepare for natural disasters before they occur, reducing loss of life and property. To prepare for this, we are starting the process to apply for the FEMA BRIC grant, which will open applications this fall. This grant provides funds to hire a consultant who will work with NVCOG in each of our 19 municipalities to ensure a finalized natural hazard mitigation plan for the region. We will be applying for the full grant amount of $300,000, which will require a 25% cash match of $100,000. We will be asking our 19 municipalities to evenly contribute to this cash match, split between fiscal years 2026 and 2027. This brings significant cost savings to each municipality when done on a multi-jurisdictional level rather than individually. We are currently working out the details and will know more once this grant round opens. We will be requesting commitment letters and sending further details to all of our municipalities in the coming months, as it is a requirement for the BRIC grant application this fall. We'll be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
So all this information is going to be sent out to each of the towns.
Yes.
All right, I just want to make sure.
Thank you. Okay, household hazardous waste update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Just a reminder, our final household hazardous waste event of the year will take place on Saturday, September 28th at Naugatuck High School, 5 Minortown Road in Woodbury. We will continue to invite municipal disposal from the 15 participating towns. However, if something is delivered that is out of the scope of our current contract with our vendor, you run the risk of being billed directly for those disposals. So if you have any questions for what your Public Works Department will bring, I encourage you to contact me in advance to review the composition of that. Also a reminder, the 15 participating towns must send 1 municipal staff member to assist with the event. This will be the last event that I will manage. It's going to transition to Tom Doherty after September 28th. So future questions should be directed to him. I will take questions for this event. His contact information is on screen. You can also scan the QR code, which will bring you to the same information of the materials that are on the table. Finally, Tom will be reaching out in later portion of the fall to schedule the annual programmatic meeting, which will afford all of you the opportunity to make suggested changes for the household hazardous waste disposal.
Okay. So if you have any trouble at deep now, you can call Steve. He'll take care of it.
I will.
Leave me your cell number before you. Although I laid the groundwork for you, I was up at deep this week.
Okay.
All right. Well, not everything, one big thing, I think. Okay, moving along to items number 5 and 6, Christine, when you're done with 5, roll right into 6.
You got it. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We have an update on the open space inventory. We announced last year that we'd received this grant from the U.S. Forest Service to update our regional open space map and write an existing conditions report with municipal profiles. August marked the 1-year anniversary, so we thought it was a good time to provide an update. You have a memo in your packets with lots of details, but in brief, here's what we've been working on. We have been researching land records, both in your town halls and through online portals, to determine the status of legal protection for, yes, you're hearing this right, every single open space parcel in your towns. We're also mapping the parcels on the interactive GIS viewer, which is going to be a really valuable tool for your planners. We're drafting an accompanying report that has a general overview of open space areas, but also has a 2-pager for each municipality with statistics and information about your, and a narrative highlighting featured open space in your community. And we're taking tons of high quality photos like this beautiful one of Buttermilk Falls by Tom Doherty in Plymouth. And we're going to provide that whole gallery to you to use for marketing purposes. The project requires a ton of collaboration with municipal staff, so we need your help to get it over the finish line. We've completed draft inventories for 6 municipalities. We're actively working with another 9, and we're still waiting on responses from 4. So please encourage your staff to respond to our inquiries so we can advance this important effort. No action is necessary. And am I allowed to take questions, or am I just going to keep rolling?
No, you can take questions.
All right, any questions? Yes,
Are you
please.
gonna give us a percentage of protected open space within the municipality based on land area?
Yes, we will.
By municipality.
By municipality, yes. Correct. Some of the percentages we're working with is like percent open space of total land area, also percent of that open space that is legally protected based on our research. We're also doing open space per capita. And if honestly, if there's any other stats you want to see, we have awesome data. Big thanks to Rich Crother and Glenda Prentice for all their work on the data GIS end.
Okay.
Great. Okay. If there's no other questions, then next up, it's that time of year again. Each year, Connecticut Deep opens 2 grant programs designed to increase public green space. The Open Space and Watershed Land Acquisition Grant, or OSWA, and the Urban Green Community Garden Grant. Both are due on December 2nd. The OSWA grant is open to all municipalities, land trusts, and water companies, and the crux of that program is the state will pay 65% the fair market value to acquire an open space property. It jumps to 75% in environmental justice communities. The Urban Greens program is only available to the following communities in our region: Ansonia, Bristol, Derby, Naugatuck, Plymouth, Thomaston, and Waterbury. This grant requires a 1-to-1 match for urban green space, and this could be anything from a rain garden to a community garden to a landscaped walking path. Many of you are very familiar with these grants as they come out every year. If you need a refresher on the details, we have information in your packets. We do encourage you to reach out to NVCOG if you think you're going to apply. We can provide technical assistance, mapping, and support letters. Happy to take any questions.
You did say that for the first one, the open space grants of municipalities are eligible, correct?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? I think we're gonna be filing an application.
Oh,
for
wonderful.
these.
Yes, please let us know. We have, we can at minimum do a support letter, but there's also other support we can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
Great, thank you.
Okay. And you might as well send her that email too.
I did, all right.
Oh, okay. Let's see, we did 5 and 6, now we move on to item number 10, community planning. Savannah,
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to pass it to Keith Rosenfeld, Senior Community Planner.
okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. I will be providing you with an update and a request today. As we previously discussed, the NVCOG is restarting the Regional Plan of Conservation and Development planning efforts. To support this effort, we have created an RPOCD steering committee that will work with NVCOG staff throughout the planning process. The first meeting of the steering committee is next Tuesday, September 24th, 2024, at 2 p.m. at the NVCOG's offices. We have 4 communities that do not have representation for the first meeting and encourage those municipalities to appoint someone as soon as possible to ensure that your community's perspectives are interwoven in this plan. As you can see, we have our agenda for the meeting.
May I talk with, Mayor Bob from Prospect? May I talk with Kim, please?
I just want to double check. So Tuesday's the 24th.
Yes,
It says 23rd on the
Yeah.
document, on the screen, the agenda document.
we updated the agenda before then, so
Yeah.
my apologies. The
Okay.
screenshot is incorrect.
Just want to make sure.
I was testing you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just the dream.
Apologies, board.
Apply all the plans.
Yeah. All right.
Any questions?
Okay.
Very good.
Do we have any towns that haven't appointed anyone yet?
We have 4 towns who have not, yes.
Not appointed people to.
This is our running theme. This is the third.
Yeah.
The final 4 you don't want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Is Shelton one of? Yeah. Yes.
How about Bristol, by the way?
No, Dave White,
Okay.
Yes. you're good too. And you're on it, yes. We have been gently calling. We will make one more gentle call. But we would really like representation as we work on this plan. We want to be sure all voices are heard.
All right, you don't have to be gentle. Sometimes people need to be forced. All right, community planning letter, newsletter?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hello, and good morning, everyone. Last Friday, our summer 2024 community planning newsletter went out. We would like to thank Ethan Falls Assistant Assessor Lisa Daigle for her participation and interview for this edition of the Municipal Land Use Best Practice on easing work with the public through technological solutions. Our sustainability spotlight features the Town of Watertown's subdivision regulations on energy efficient patterns of development and how municipalities can better understand the Connecticut General Statutes 8-25B. Jacob Bartel, our 2024 Sustainability CT Fellow, which some of your municipalities worked with over the summer, is the focus of our People Behind the Plans. He shares his journey and experiences during the summer with us in a wonderful interview. A recording of the June Housing and School Enrollment webinar is available on the NVCOG YouTube channel. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them after this meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Item number 3, Aquifer Protection Area Series.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm providing you an update about the wrap up of our aquifer protection area workshop series. So, we've released an executive summary that shares the results from the series, and we had strong participation throughout and positive feedback from the people who participated. Recordings of each of the sessions are available on our website. The QR code is small on the screen, but you do have a copy in your meeting packet, and you can access it there. And I just want to make a note that we are aware that we still have 10 NVCOG municipalities with aquifer protection areas that are considered non-compliant by Connecticut DEEP. And so we want to make sure that you're aware that we have reason to believe they will begin enforcement in the coming year about that. So we are available to assist you with, if they're working towards compliance, to provide technical support, and just want to make sure that you all are aware of that. So happy to take any questions.
Bad for 1 to 10.
Yeah. And Mr. Chair, if I may just reinforce, we have it on very good word that municipalities will start to see enforcement actions. So if your communities are not compliant, this is kind of the calm before the storm. And we really, really are encouraging municipalities to work with us or to work with the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection to prevent that point where you get that letter from DEEP and they want to move forward on
So
enforcement.
who at the municipal level would be notified by the state? Is it the city engineer? Is it the wetlands people?
It probably would come to the chief elected
Yeah.
official, being non-compliant with the program, but generally we see often in our communities that the Aquifer Protection Agency is the same as your Planning and Zoning Commission. I know it's different in Beacon Falls. I believe it's your Conservation Commission who wears
Yeah.
both of those. Am I? Wetlands, my apologies. Wetlands wears the hat, but across the board, it is often the Planning and Zoning Commission, but if you were to be non-compliant, it would probably come through each of your offices to then register through the Aquifer Protection Agency. And I'll note that this isn't a simple process. It's registering businesses, it's bringing those business owners to the table. It's not something that can be resolved in a month or a meeting. And so this is kind of our opportunity to get you compliant before the state comes down with what we believe will be a hammer.
And through the chair, even with outside of a compliance issue, it's a tricky area.
Yeah.
I know the person is currently working on an issue for lack of good oversight, put it that way. So we'll keep saying so. And it's gonna cost us money, so all of you should be warned of that.
Okay, moving along, item number 4, housing technical assistance update.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hope you've all enjoyed your summers, and it's good to see so many of you back here. So I'd just like to give you some quick updates on the housing technical assistance that NVCOG has been up to over the summer. We've attended community meetings in Seymour, Bethlehem, and Southbury over the last few months. We're continuing our work in Bethlehem to support the establishment of their Affordable Housing Committee and Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Affordable Housing Trust. In Oxford, we've been working with their Affordable Housing Plan Committee to complete their Affordable Housing Plan. And in Oxford, we've done community outreach and facilitated committee meetings as well. We've also completed housing needs assessments for the towns of Southbury, Oxford, and Seymour, which have been presented or will be shortly to municipal housing commissions and chief elected officials. It's been a busy and exciting summer for housing planning in our region. We're more than happy to assist any of our member municipalities with housing assistance as aforementioned, or any other housing efforts that the municipality might have interest in. If you're interested in working with us on a housing initiative, please either contact myself or Savannah Nicole to discuss it further. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Anybody? Okay, thank you. Item number 5, coffee hour webinar.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. I will be providing you with a brief update and a learning opportunity today. NVCOG will be hosting our next coffee hour webinar on October 22nd at 11 a.m. This webinar focuses on demystifying the 8-30G appeals process. We're excited to announce that this will be a collaboration between the Department of Housing, the Connecticut chapter of the American Planning Association, and our organization. A key member of the Department of Housing staff will be leading the discussion about getting into the nuts and bolts of the 8-30G appeals process. And the Connecticut chapter of the American Planning Association will be offering one continuing education credit to your planners that are AICD planners who attend. Speaking from experience, the best time to understand the 8-30G appeals process is before there's an application before your committee. The goal of this webinar is to have a neutral space to really understand how the process works, what your municipal responsibilities are, what your commission's responsibilities are, without the stress of a pending application being before your community. So we encourage your planners, your commissioners, or your community members to attend. We will record the event for viewing after the same way we did for our prior coffee hour, and you can register. I'm your last QR code for the day, but you also have the flyer in your packet, and you've received the information about this event via email. And I can take any questions.
Okay. Pretty important stuff for planning and zoning commissions to understand.
Yes.
And I would encourage everyone to send someone from their planning and zoning commission so they can get up to speed on what they're dealing with. All right, so now we're item number 11, we go into executive session.
No executive session.
No executive session?
Statement.
All right, so is there any other further business to come before the board today? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. So moved. Is there a second? Second. Motion is made and second, all in favor? Aye. Everybody have a wonderful weekend.